She is not Native American. She is liberty. And she was struck in 1860 and 1861 while America stood on the edge of a knife. From the cannons of Fort Sumter to the silent lockdown of COVID-19, history doesn't just repeat, it collects. While the world was sanitizing groceries and wearing masks, a new generation of hunters unearthed these dark, crusty copper relics from drawers and attics. The market for this black gold exploded overnight. Some of these cents were worth $50. Some, with the right pointed bust and that untouched Civil War darkness, shot to over $50,000 during the pandemic boom. This is Legacy Coins USA. The dirt is the history, and we're just getting started. Subscribe. The next relic is in your pocket. Let's get started. Coin number 1. The year 1861, a nation tearing itself apart. And in the midst of that chaos, the Philadelphia Mint struck a coin that would become one of the most recognizable pieces of American history, the Indian head cent. But let's get one thing perfectly clear immediately, because the name is a grand deception. That proud profile staring out from the copper is not a Native American chief. It is Lady Liberty herself, draped in a feathered war bonnet. Designer James Barton Longacre created this iconic image as a bold, purely symbolic representation of America's untamed spirit and freedom, a fact that shocks most new collectors when they realize they are holding an allegorical goddess, not a historical portrait. This is the foundational drama of the coin, a mistaken identity that has fueled a century and a half of myth and collecting obsession. The coin you are looking at, the 1861, carries the weight of a country on the brink. It was the first full year of the Civil War, and while soldiers were falling at Bull Run, these humble copper cents were circulating through the pockets of citizens in the North, a small, tangible piece of normalcy in a world gone mad. The reverse features the familiar 1 cent, nestled inside a sturdy oak wreath, a design that speaks of endurance and strength. But on your specific coin, that wreath has been swallowed by time. You describe a black color coin and worth pool design. That is not damage. That is a badge of honor. That deep, inky ebony patina is the result of over 160 years of oxidation and honest circulation, a protective layer that old-school collectors revere as cabinet toning or a wreath pool of natural aging. The Philadelphia Mint produced a staggering 10,100,000 of these coins. By the standards of the 19th century, that is a huge mintage. Millions of them were made, and yet, try finding one today with crisp detail. You cannot. The vast majority of these coins were ground to dust by the gears of the Industrial Revolution. They were used to buy bread, pay for newspapers, and dropped in mud. Consequently, the 1861 is a paradoxical coin. It is not a rare date in the guidebook sense. You can buy a worn, slick example for anywhere between $15 and $30 all day long. But in the dramatic, viral video world we are about to enter, we do not care about common coins. We care about the condition. The value of an 1861 skyrockets when it escapes the clutches of circulation. If that black patina on your coin is even in hide surfaces that still show the word Liberty sharp on the headband and distinct tips on the feathers, you are looking at a coin worth hundreds. An 1861 graded MS-64 red-brown by a professional service can command $600 to $900. But if that coin were a gleaming, lustrous red, original mint copper color, and graded MS-66, you are now in the penthouse, looking at a $15,000 to $20,000 specimen. That is the volatility of this market. A $30 pocket piece versus a 5-figure museum relic, separated only by the microscopic preservation of a copper planchet. Let us address the collector demand and the roller coaster of the up and down you inquired about. The Indian head cent series is the heartbeat of American numismatics. It is the entry point for 90% of coin collectors, but the 1861 holds a specific, darker allure. Demand is not just driven by date collectors. It is driven by Civil War historians and hoarders of copper. The market for these cents saw an astronomical spike during the COVID-19 pandemic, where bored Americans rediscovered the thrill of metal detecting and coin roll hunting. Prices for mid-grade 1861s doubled, then corrected. That is the down you need to know. As of today, the market is cooling from that fever pitch, but remains robust. The demand for original coins like yours, The ones described as black or worth pool is actually at a premium over shiny, cleaned coins. Smart collectors in 2026 understand that a coin with a 160-year-old patina is a time capsule that hasn't been tampered with. If your coin has that deep, dark, almost charcoal hue with underlying hints of olive and mahogany, you hold a piece that dealers describe as choice original or crusty. There is a specific, hardcore sect of collectors who will pay 20% more for a dirty, original coin than for a bright, scrubbed one. You did not specify a mint mark on your coin. If there is no letter under the wreath on the back, it is from Philadelphia. But if there is a tiny S there, that changes everything. The 1861 S is a legend. And here's the deeper, almost cinematic drama. In 1861, the San Francisco Mint was technically still part of the Union, but the Civil War was underway. There is also the ghost story of the Confederate cent. While number 1861 dated Indian head cents were struck by the Confederacy, they used a different design attempt with Longacre's head. The mere fact that the 1861 copper-nickel composition was hoarded as hard money during the war adds to its lore. In the North, people hoarded gold and silver, but in some border states, even copper-nickel cents were squirreled away. Finding an 1861 today with that black, undisturbed surface means this coin likely sat in a jar, a drawer, or a leather pouch while cannons boomed in the distance. It was silent. Imagine the camera tight on that black coin, a single spotlight catching the faint outline of the headdress emerging from the void of dark toning. The music is low, a slow cello drone. The first beat of the video establishes the misdirection. She is not who you think she is. The second beat hits the date, 1861. Fort Sumter has fallen. Lincoln is in the White House, and this penny was minted. The third beat contrasts the mintage of 10 million with the reality of survival. We show a graph that plummets. 99.9% of these are gone, melted, lost, worn to a nub. The fourth beat is the value explosion. We cut to auction records flashing on screen. $601,200, $20,000, based purely on the shade of the copper. The fifth beat is the collector psychology. They will pay more for the black, dirty coin than the shiny one. Why? Because the dirt is the history. The sixth beat brings it back to the holder. You have an 1861. You have that black patina. You might have a $50 coin, or you might have a $500 coin. The only way to know is to look closer. We've discussed the obverse design, liberty with feathers and the word liberty on the coronet. On an 1861, pay attention to the neck point and the diamond. This year is known for having a slightly weaker strike than the 1860. The diamonds in the ribbon reading United States of America are often mushy. If your coin, despite being black, shows 4 clear diamonds on that ribbon, the value multiplies immediately. This is the difference between a very fine VF coin and an extremely fine EF coin. In the world of the 1861, an EF coin is the sweet spot. It's where the coin looks like it has lived a life, but still tells you all its secrets. Regarding the worth pool you mentioned, this is likely a phonetic capture of the wreath on the reverse. That wreath is comprised of oak leaves, acorns, and a small shield at the top. On a worn 1861, the leaves blend into a muddy, pool-like circle of copper. This is a diagnostic of honest wear. Collectors do not frown upon this. They call it circulation cameo. The deep black color, known formally as patina or toning, is actually cupric oxide. It is a protective shell. Do not, under any circumstances, attempt to clean this coin with vinegar, baking soda, or polish. Doing so will instantly strip away the dramatic viral video potential and turn a $200 original coin into a $10 piece of bullion. So don't skip video because the next coin or worth millions. So stay with me and subscribe to the channel and never miss any information. Coin number 2. This is not the profile of a Native American. It is Liberty herself, draped in a feathered war bonnet, a bold, symbolic creation by Chief Engraver James Barton Longacre. 1860 was a pivotal year, marking the first use of the iconic oak wreath with shield, reverse, that would define the series until its end in 1909. Your coin, with its deep black patina, is a time capsule from the eve of the Civil War. a nation holding its breath. The Philadelphia Mint struck 20,566,000 of these coins in an 88% copper and 12% nickel alloy. Yet, the real story of the 1860 cent lies in a secret design change hidden in plain sight: the pointed bust versus the rounded bust variety. A small number of 1860 cents were struck using leftover 1859 dies with a sharply pointed bust. Most 1860 cents feature a rounded bust. Identifying the pointed bust variety can transform a common coin into a scarce, sought-after treasure. The value of your 1860 cent is a study in condition and variety. For a standard rounded bust coin in worn, circulated condition, you might be looking at $15 to $50. Prices rise steadily with grade. An extremely fine EF40 coin can fetch around $123, while an about uncirculated -50 Australian dollars example might bring $193. The coin enters a different league in mint state. An MS60 rounded bust coin starts at roughly $260, and an MS65 red can surpass $4,000. The record for a top-grade example is an astonishing $52,800. If your coin has the rarer pointed bust, the financial stakes rise dramatically. Even in fine condition, a pointed bust coin might start at $22, but in high mint state, it can command $3,500 to over $10,000. One MS65 pointed bust sold for $3,360 at auction, a figure that reflects its relative scarcity, with only about 1 million believed to have been struck. The deep, even worth pool patina you describe is known as cabinet toning, a protective layer of oxidation that adds value, proving the coin has never been harshly cleaned. The collector market for the 1860 cent is robust, driven by its historical significance and its place as a foundational date in the popular Indian head series. The overall coin collecting market is projected for strong growth, with some forecasts predicting a global market of $83.57 billion by 2035. The up and down you mentioned is a natural cycle. The COVID-19 pandemic saw a massive influx of new collectors and a sharp rise in prices for all U.S. coins, a peak from which the market has since cooled and stabilized. Today, the demand is strongest for authentic, original coins. Collectors and grading services like CAC actively seek out coins with attractive, natural toning, ranking the demand for such pieces highly. Your black color coin is not a defect. It's a premium feature in the current market. While an 1860 cent is relatively common in lower grades, it is considered a condition rarity in high mint state, with superb uncirculated examples being genuinely rare. This creates a stable, long-term demand for high-quality specimens, making it a favorite target for registry set collectors and investors alike. The 1860 date is not the rarest in the series. That title belongs to the 1877, but its unique place as a transitional year with two distinct varieties ensures its enduring popularity. If this 1861 and 1860 cent could speak, it would tell you where it was buried during the war. Hit subscribe before the next one tells its secret. Don't let history slip through your fingers like loose change. Smash that subscribe button and we'll uncover the next legend together.